What if your conscience isn't yours? What if that little voice in your head, the one that whispers right from wrong, isn't your inner compass, but an ancient parasite, passed down through generations, rewriting your mental code without your consent? Welcome to moral malware, where ethical systems infect your thoughts, manipulate your behavior, and convince you it's all your idea. From birth, your operating system is installed. Praise when you share, shame when you don't say thank you. Be nice, obey authority, tell the truth, don't hurt others. Harmless on the surface, noble even. But beneath that surface, something darker takes root. Every moral lesson becomes a subroutine, an automated response. Guilt without logic, obedience without questioning. Like malware, morality embeds itself in your system, running silently in the background, consuming your processing power, limiting forbidden thoughts, setting off internal alarms at the edge of taboo. And here's the kicker. You think it's you. You think you feel guilty. You think you want to be good. But what if those aren't your feelings? What if those are scripts written by dead philosophers, old religions, outdated laws, modern algorithms, executing commands in your neural code? Like any good virus, moral malware evolves. In medieval Europe, it meant fearing hell. In Victorian England, it meant sexual repression. Today, it means performative virtue, curated empathy on social media, canceling the impure, tweeting the correct outrage. The code updates, the infection remains. Because morality comes with a seductive lie. If you follow the rules, you're good. But good according to whom? Who writes the code? Who benefits from your obedience? Who profits from your guilt? Every moral system is a control system, sometimes helpful, often not. It regulates, enforces, suppresses. In tribes, it ensured survival. In empires, it justified war. In corporations, it builds brands and crushes dissent. In modern democracies, it pacifies populations under the illusion of choice. We like to believe that our ethics are a product of reason, that our conscience is some natural byproduct of intelligence. But conscience is just another app, pre-installed, rarely updated, and heavily surveilled. It tells you what not to say, what not to want, who not to be. It doesn't liberate, it disciplines. And discipline, as Foucault knew, is power in disguise. You don't choose your morality, it's chosen for you, shaped by family, culture, religion, media, education, peer pressure, and repetition. The more it repeats, the deeper it embeds. Soon, you defend it as your own. You'll fight for it, kill for it, die for it. That's how powerful the malware becomes. It hijacks not just behavior, but identity. Moral malware defines your enemies for you. Outrage, signal, condemn, reward, predictable, controllable, loyal. But what if you uninstall it? What happens when you step outside the matrix of inherited ethics? At first, the symptoms are uncomfortable. Guilt, anxiety, disorientation. These are withdrawal effects, resistance from neural pathways built on moral rigidity. The system doesn't want to die quietly. It flails. It screams. It tries to convince you that you're evil for questioning its authority. But questioning is how all truth begins. You were not born with a moral compass. You were programmed. Different cultures, different code. The same act. Noble here, evil there. Killing in war, heroic. Killing in self-defense, debated. Killing in cold blood, monstrous. But all three involve the same act. Only the context and coding change. Some cultures praise revenge, others shame it. Some teach celibacy as divine. Others celebrate sexual liberty. Some punish blasphemy, others monetize it. So which morality is correct? The one that won? The one that shouts the loudest? Or the one that aligns with your favorite influencer? Because moral malware includes a failsafe, certainty. It convinces you that your outrage is righteous, your disgust is justified, your tribe is virtuous. Certainty is the ultimate firewall. And doubt? That's the back door to freedom. So ask yourself, What rules do you follow without knowing why? What taboos trigger you? What actions do you judge but secretly crave? Who benefits from your moral obedience? Sit in that discomfort. That's your system rebooting. That's the origin of sovereignty. Now imagine morality as open source, a tool you can inspect, rewrite, fork. This is ethical hacking. You don't throw morality away. You debug it. Keep what promotes human flourishing. Trash what enforces fear, conformity, and shame. You stop asking, is this good or bad, and start asking, who does this serve? Who does it harm? You stop needing to be good. You start learning how to be true. Because in a world where morality is weaponized, used to control, to shame, to conquer, the greatest rebellion is ethical autonomy. The refusal to run inherited code. The courage to write your own. True moral freedom requires more than defiance. It requires design, intentional values, conscious trade-offs, ethical experiments. It requires becoming the architect of your inner world, not its passive tenant. That means risking discomfort, abandoning the applause, standing alone when necessary. It means being misunderstood. But it also means being alive in a way most never experience. We live in a time where moral language is currency, outrage is monetized, virtue is branded, justice is gamified, your feed is a battleground of moral performance. Algorithms reward certainty, not curiosity. And nuance? It gets downranked. In such a world, the greatest act of rebellion is depth, the willingness to sit with moral complexity, to say, I don't know, to entertain competing truths without collapsing into relativism, to act with integrity, not performance, and to speak the dangerous sentence, this value no longer serves me. This isn't nihilism, it's reconstruction. Not the absence of values, but their conscious creation. It's asking, if I could build my ethics from scratch, no guilt, no fear, no applause, what would I choose? Start small. Observe your automatic judgments. Notice when your righteousness spikes. Who are you trying to impress? What are you afraid will happen if you don't signal morality? Are you protecting others or protecting yourself from exile? Now try an experiment. Break a minor moral rule. Nothing catastrophic. Tell a harsh truth instead of a kind lie. Skip a holiday call. Defend someone unpopular. Watch how quickly the malware retaliates. Shame, doubt, anxiety. But keep watching. What emerges beneath the fear? Maybe clarity. Maybe peace. Maybe freedom. The goal isn't moral perfection, it's moral authorship. To live not by inherited commandments, but by tested principles. Principles forged in fire, not handed to you in a handbook. You might fail. You will fail. But the failures are yours. And that makes all the difference. So break the loop. Interrogate the voices in your head. Don't just run the program. Read the source code. Share this if it cracks something inside you. Like it if you felt the weight of inherited guilt. Comment with the first moral belief you're ready to interrogate. Subscribe. Not because it's right, but because it's free. This is moral malware, and the uninstall starts now. What if your empathy isn't real? What if the compassion you feel, the sympathy you perform, the tears you shed while scrolling through tragedy are all simulations? Carefully crafted responses, stitched together by evolution, culture, and algorithms to create the illusion that you're a good person. Welcome to the simulation of empathy, why you're not really a good person. Let's begin with something uncomfortable. Empathy is a performance, not always intentional, not always fake, but still, a performance. Your brain is wired not to feel for everyone equally, but to prioritize your tribe, your kin, your social circle, your political allies, your reflections. This isn't moral failure, it's neurological bias, and it's everywhere. A child starving across the ocean, tragic but distant, a pet video with sad music, tears, A friend in crisis? Empathy kicks in fast, unless they're inconvenient. We call it compassion, but often it's just proximity plus emotion plus ego. We feel most for those who reflect us, and the rest? Background noise. This is not your fault. It's the architecture of human survival. Our ancestors didn't need global empathy, they needed local cohesion. Empathy evolved not as a virtue, but as a tool for bonding, for survival. It keeps tribes intact, it regulates relationships, it rewards cooperation, and punishes betrayal with social exile. The real reason we feel guilty isn't always because we've hurt someone, it's because we fear losing status. So what does this mean for modern morality? It means our ethical systems are built on biased code. You don't care equally. You can't. You weren't meant to. Yet society trains you to believe that feeling is proof of goodness, that crying at a documentary makes you kind, that retweeting injustice makes you an ally, that donating to a cause makes you a savior. But what if all this is just emotional theater? Empathy in the modern world is often aesthetic, stylized, packaged for public consumption. We perform grief online, react with emojis, share tragedies with filtered outrage, and feel absolved. The simulation rewards us. Likes, comments, affirmation. And just like that, we've done our moral duty for the algorithm. But here's the truth. Real empathy is rare. Real empathy is inconvenient. Real empathy demands something from you. Not just attention, but action. Not just emotion, but discomfort. It means sitting with people you don't like, defending those you don't agree with, resisting the urge to signal and instead choosing to listen, to serve, to stay when it's hard. Simulated empathy costs you nothing. Real empathy costs your comfort. And that's why most people opt for the simulation. Not because they're evil, because it's easier. It feels good. It fits the script. We want to be seen as good more than we want to do good. And so, like actors on a moral stage, we play our roles. We perform grief. We express outrage. We do just enough to signal that we care, but not enough to actually change. This isn't cynicism. This is clarity. Because when you see empathy for what it is, you can choose what kind of person you want to be. You can stop pretending to be good and start doing what's necessary to be real. Ask yourself, when was the last time you helped someone who couldn't help you back? When did you defend someone unpopular without posting about it? Have you ever sat with someone in pain without offering solutions just to hold the weight with them? Have you ever questioned your empathy triggers? Why you cry for animals but not for addicts? Why you mourn fictional deaths but scroll past genocide? These questions don't make you bad, they make you conscious. And that's the beginning of moral maturity. Because you're not a bad person, you're just a conditioned one. Trained by dopamine, narrative, and cultural expectation to look like you care. But real care is quiet. It's often ugly. It doesn't come with applause. You don't need to feel bad. You need to feel responsible. Empathy should not be your identity. It should be your practice. A choice you make daily. Sometimes with feeling, sometimes without it. Because the truth is, empathy is not always emotional. Sometimes it's behavioral. You help not because you feel moved, but because someone needs help, and that's enough. Stop waiting to feel like a good person. Start acting like one. Let your empathy be manual, not automatic. Let it be questioned, not worshipped. Let it serve others, not your image. And when the simulation starts, when your brain says, post that, cry now, signal your virtue, pause. Ask yourself, is this real? Or is this just what a good person is supposed to do? Empathy is not about being seen caring. It's about caring when no one sees you. And this right here is where the simulation begins to crack. Because once you realize how automated your empathy has become, how it's shaped by media cycles, peer validation, and curated algorithms, you start to notice just how little of it comes from your actual values. You start to see that your moral compass doesn't always point north. It points wherever the feed tells it to. How many times have you felt something deep, intense, only to forget about it hours later? How many causes have you supported but never sacrificed for? How many tragedies have you shared, only to move on as soon as they stopped trending? We live in an era of fast food empathy. Instant, consumable, satisfying, but not nourishing. It doesn't change you. It doesn't challenge you. It doesn't ask anything of you except your attention span. The simulation of empathy thrives in short bursts, tweets, stories, headlines. It keeps us in a state of constant emotional stimulation, never giving us time to metabolize what we're feeling into action. It replaces ethics with expression, integrity with visibility. And the most terrifying part? We think it's normal. But empathy wasn't meant to be a reaction. It was meant to be a responsibility. It's not supposed to stop at feeling. It's supposed to move you, shape your choices, disrupt your comfort, extend your reach beyond your echo chamber. Real empathy breaks your boundaries. It doesn't reinforce them. So what happens when we embrace this truth? When we admit that our goodness might be a facade? We get honest. And in honesty, we find freedom. The freedom to stop performing. The freedom to listen, really listen, without needing to look wise or kind. The freedom to help even when no one's watching. The freedom to say, I don't feel anything right now, but I'm going to show up anyway. Because that's where empathy becomes real, in the showing up. Not in the post, not in the likes, not in the tears, but in the uncomfortable, thankless, sometimes invisible act of choosing to care. Again, and again, and again. And here's the paradox. When you stop trying to be seen as a good person, you have the chance to actually become one. So test yourself. Will you comfort a friend who's in pain even when they annoy you? Will you support a cause quietly, with no recognition? Will you give your time, not just your money? Will you speak up for someone you disagree with when they're being treated unjustly? Will you forgive someone who hasn't earned it? Empathy is not a mood, it's a muscle. And most of us have let it atrophy in the gym of public image. So pick up the weight, feel its heaviness, don't run from it. Real empathy is inconvenient, but it's real. If this made you uncomfortable, good. That means something real is waking up. Comment with the hardest truth you've had to face about your own empathy. Like if this cracked the illusion, share it. Not to look good, but to start real conversations. And subscribe for more philosophical detonations that challenge your favorite lies. This was the simulation of empathy. Now go be real. Imagine a prison so perfect, the prisoners police themselves. No bars, no guards. Just a voice in your head whispering, do the right thing. That's the cage Immanuel Kant built, a system where morality is not imposed by force, but internalized through reason. He called it duty. He called it freedom. But what if it was the most elegant form of mental slavery ever invented? Kant believed he was saving us from chaos. In the wake of Enlightenment optimism and religious collapse, he tried to anchor ethics not in God, nor desire, nor consequence, but in pure reason. His answer? The categorical imperative. Act only according to that maxim whereby you can, at the same time, will that it should become a universal law. It sounds noble, rational, unshakable. But beneath this pristine formula lies a dark architecture, one designed to subjugate the human will under the illusion of self-governance. Kant stripped morality of emotion. He distrusted feelings as unreliable, chaotic, dangerous. Empathy didn't matter. Consequences didn't matter. Only intention did. The goodwill, he claimed, was good, not because of what it produced, but because it willed in accordance with duty. But duty to what? To an abstract law, to a formula, to an idealized notion of universal rationality. And here's where the trap closes. You are told you are free, but only when you obey reason. You are told you are moral, but only when you submit to duty. You are told you are autonomous, but only when you suppress your desires. It's a brilliance that borders on tyranny. The genius of Kant's system is that it replaces external authority with internalized surveillance. You no longer need priests or kings to tell you what is right. The Kantian subject carries their judge within them, programmed by moral law. It's the same strategy used in modern propaganda: make the population believe they are acting out of their own free will, when in fact, they are following a script implanted by culture, ideology, or, in this case, philosophy. Under Kant, you don't ask, "What will happen if I do this?" You ask, "Would I will this as a universal law for all?" But who decides what's universal? Who decides what's rational? What Kant doesn't say is that universality is a fantasy. Human life is not universal. It is particular, contextual, relational. What's right in one society, one era, one context, can be monstrous in another, and yet Kant insists on erasing this ambiguity. He demands a morality beyond time, beyond flesh, beyond feeling, a ghost morality. And so you begin to amputate parts of yourself. You learn to distrust passion. You learn to fear contradiction. You learn to hate the parts of you that don't align with duty. Kant's ethics creates a mind split in two: the rational legislator and the animal it must control. Sound familiar? This is the template for modern bureaucratic ethics, for systems where rules matter more than lives, where soldiers follow orders not because they're forced to, but because they believe it's their duty, where corporations enforce policies with blind procedural rigor, where empathy is dangerous and moral flexibility is sin. And all of it comes wrapped in the language of responsibility. Now let's look at Kant's view of freedom. He defined it not as the ability to choose what you want, but as the capacity to act according to moral law. In other words, you are only free when you obey the right rule. But this isn't freedom, it's submission with extra steps. And this is why Kant's philosophy is so seductive to power. It creates obedient individuals who believe they are sovereign. It creates guilt, not as a response to harm, but as a failure of duty. It creates moral absolutism disguised as rational clarity. It's no accident that Kantian ethics influence the rise of modern legalism, statecraft, and even totalitarian regimes. The Nazis invoked Kant's philosophy to justify blind allegiance to law over conscience. Adolf Eichmann, one of the architects of the Holocaust, claimed he was simply following Kant's principle of duty. Of course, Kant would have rejected this, but the machinery was already built. The code had been written. The moral robot had already been designed. Now zoom out. You live in a world saturated with moral commands. Be kind. Speak up. Obey the law. Do your part. Protect others. Some of these are valuable, but many are not questions of conscience. They are inherited slogans, scripts, echoes of a system that wants you to be good, not free. Kant's system didn't kill the soul, it repurposed it. He replaced the confessional booth with an inner tribunal. He turned the self into both judge and defendant. He made you the warden of your own inner prison. And here's the most dangerous part. It works. You think before you act. You weigh duty. You fear guilt more than failure. You discipline your feelings. You overanalyze your intentions. And you call it maturity. But is it? Or is it compliance dressed in virtue? So what's the way out? It begins with moral self-awareness. Ask not just what you believe, but why. Trace the roots of your guilt. Examine the source of your duty. Is it truly yours? Or is it an echo? Second, reclaim your moral imagination. Ethics is not about fitting into universal molds. It's about crafting meaning in a fractured world. That means emotion matters, context matters, ambiguity matters. Real moral life is messy, unresolved, human. Third, dismantle the false idol of reason. Reason is a tool, not a god. It can guide, but it must not rule. When reason becomes tyrant, the soul becomes a slave. Fourth, reject moral perfection. Perfection paralyzes. You will make mistakes. You will contradict yourself. You will act out of fear, love, rage, weakness. Good. That's what makes you real. Finally, embrace what I call moral sovereignty. It is not about obedience to internalized law. It's about authorship. You write your code, you revise it, you test it against experience, not abstraction. You live your ethics, not because they are pure, but because they are yours. Kant's control matrix still governs millions. It whispers in classrooms, in HR manuals, in legal codes, in social shame. But you don't have to be part of it. You can choose the messy path, the uncertain path, the path of inner authorship. It won't be clean. It won't be consistent, but it will be yours. So if this idea struck something inside you, something caged, something tired of performing goodness, don't ignore it. Share this, like it, subscribe. Not because it's the right thing to do, but because it's your decision, and hit the bell not out of duty but desire. Comment below, what belief about morality are you ready to burn? You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be free. And freedom begins where duty ends.